just the fully spec'd out version, and I bought that because I just want to future-proof this thing and I don't want to have to buy another system or another PC very soon. So just bite the bullet and went with the most expensive one, and I have to say that I totally don't regret this. Okay, so hear me out. I know what I said, that I wouldn't be upgrading in like 5 years and this is the best laptop ever, but it turned out to be not that case. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. This video is going to be a little controversial for all the nerds out there just like me. In this video I'm going to talk about why after 10 plus years of using Windows computers I now finally switched to Apple. So before I tell you all the problems I had with Windows and sound like a little whining kid, I first wanted to tell you what my motivation about switching and not wanting to deal with all these problems actually is. It's actually about what I'm focused on in life. In my life, I have, of course, filmmaking, owning a business, making money, doing fun stuff in general. And time is the most valuable thing in that, and it supports everything that I do. So I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to get distracted. And just with the direction I see myself going or want to go in, I can't have any distraction. I can't deal with problems that I don't need. And that is where I value time over money. A big argument in this battle between Windows and Apple is always, Windows is way better for the price. Well, it's actually not, in my opinion. You might get the same amount of specifications for a lower amount of money, but you don't get all the other things that come with Apple. And I'm not talking about the cool features such as AirDrop, I'm talking about just the general feel and the way Apple works. You see, for Windows, everybody can create a Windows computer. I can start a brand tomorrow, get some parts together, slap my branding on it, and use Windows or sell it with Windows and have it work on my computer. I can't do that with macOS. The software made for Apple computers is strictly made for Apple computers and Apple computers only, and that is why it works so well with the hardware inside of these computers. For Windows, that's different. There are a lot of companies that sell different parts for different computers, but they all run the same operating software. So when you have such a big market of different brands, different components, all working with the same software, it creates problems because there's just not enough resources to create custom software for all these different components. So they create a one-size-fits-all software. But it's not custom made for certain components or certain brands. Which is also a good thing, because if every software would be different, it would be hard to use, but Apple doesn't have that problem as well. As you saw in the beginning of the video, I was very happy with getting the computer. It was my first laptop ever that I personally owned. It's just a great experience overall. I don't regret. Of course, I don't regret buying it. It taught me a lot of things and it worked in the beginning, but it doesn't work very well now. Problem number one is just in the beginning, right after I bought the computer, the audio wasn't working properly. I had to update drivers and all sorts of stuff. I wasn't expecting that to happen just in the absolute beginning of using my laptop. It was a very small problem, but just super annoying, especially in the beginning. Yeah, annoying. Then the second problem is a good example of software not properly working with hardware. The screen in this laptop is a 4K screen, which is great, looks absolutely beautiful, but the software wasn't really supporting that 4K screen. Some applications, and maybe it's the fault of the applications, were not optimized for the 4K screen, so they were very, very small. I talked about it in the previous laptop video. I had to sometimes squint my eyes and just be really close to the computer to make some adjustments or to work with certain applications. It's just super annoying. I don't want that to happen. I just want my shit to work. It also wasn't an error that I could easily fix with a software update or just tweaking some settings. It's just something that I still to this day couldn't really solve, and it's not my problem anymore because I don't use the laptop anymore. Then on to the third issue that I had with the laptop is that the GPU was not properly working with the rest of the software. Sometimes it wasn't optimizing the GPU. For instance, for editing, the GPU is very important. Of course, CPU as well, but it can't be only software. It has to be hardware as well that's working. So it was just sometimes not even using my GPU for only 1%. So stuff like gaming, which I don't really do, but when I do, I just want it to work. It wasn't working properly. Stuff that renders really quickly with GPU and software working together, that wasn't happening for most of the time. And I had to reinstall drivers or update drivers, but still at the end, It was just a mess, and sometimes I had to like update drivers daily, which is super annoying. Also, a problem that I had with my graphics card, every time I would update the drivers, the colors of my screen would change, which is super annoying when you're doing color grading. Sometimes the reds would be super overly saturated, sometimes they would be very dark, and it's just super inconsistent, and it's just annoying, especially when you're doing color grading, and I don't want that. I just want to create, I just want to go. The next problem was dust inside of my computer. I once unscrewed the computer to repaste the processor. That's something people recommend. Of course, that's always a bad sign if they recommend you opening your computer. Apple would never do that. They don't want you. But I knew I could. I opened the computer and there was so much dust inside. Of course, you can blame that problem on me personally, like clean your room and, I don't know, make your room cleaner, but my room is pretty clean. There's not a lot of dust, but my computer was absolutely filled with dust. I had to remove all the dust. It was actually so much dust. I repasted the computer, and after that it worked pretty well, wasn't getting as hot anymore, but that's also a big sign of that the components inside of a computer aren't custom made for the chassis of the computer. There was just too much room for dust to come in, or the vents weren't properly made. It's just, I don't want that issue. So the fifth issue is random crashes of software. Of course, Adobe has a past with software that's crashing. It happens less on Mac, I feel already. But that's something I can't really control and Apple can't really control. It's a software issue, but also just the Windows operating system crashing as a whole. I had a period where my computer would just randomly crash, just shut off and just remove my work. Also, a crash that was a little bit less random but still super annoying is every time I would put my audio interface inside of the computer with the USB and I would just like pull it out, which is maybe not the best thing to do. It would just crash my computer sometimes. And then something that makes all these problems better, even better, yes, is the customer service of Dell. They're terrible. I think in my whole life I've been calling with the Dell customer support for maybe 20 hours in my whole life, which is too much. 20 hours too much. I've called for probably all of these issues just randomly happening, and they couldn't really help me because they're not trained properly. I don't blame it on these people, I blame it on the people that train these people. I had to just explain things to them instead of them explaining things to me. None of the times it worked, just wasting my time, super annoying. And then the last issue to seal the deal to make me want to switch to Apple. One of the reasons is I got an iPhone, which is a great thing, and I saw why that was so great, but also the swollen battery inside of this Dell computer. So in my laptop, as you can see, is a thick looking trackpad. Oh, you can see recovery. Oh, this doesn't look good. Like, this is a good introduction to my laptop. So probably 3 or 4 months ago, this battery started swelling. I wasn't sure what was happening, but the trackpad started lifting up and was very hard to click. Every time I was on a plane, it was very hard to click, which has something to do with altitude and swollen batteries. It's just like having a bag of chips in the plane, and I don't know, it looks weird. I wasn't very aware of the issue and I kind of never used the trackpad, but now it doesn't even work anymore. I can't click it. I have to use a lot of force, which is something I don't really want to do it because I don't want to like pop the battery or break it even more. So there are multiple problems that come with the swollen battery. Of course, battery life is going to suck ass. The second one is the trackpad not working, and the third one, I wouldn't go flying with this thing because it kind of feels like a bomb. I'm not sure. You've probably all seen the Samsung phones exploding with the swollen batteries. I don't want to risk flying with this thing and setting the plane on fire, so that's also a big no-no. So what you can overall take away from this whole rant about why I hate working with these computers, but I love them of course, is software not properly working with hardware, and me just wanting to create whatever thing or object can help me create my art and help me create it in the best way possible, the fastest way possible, and the least amount of stress possible is the thing I'll choose for. It's not that I think Mac looks prettier or it's cool. I just want something that works and works every time, so I don't mind spending much more money to have something that is much more reliable, and then when there's a problem, you can call somebody who's actually smart and will explain you the problem and will help you resolve the problem. And if something is absolutely wrong, for instance the butterfly key switches on the Macbooks, they will replace it for free if it's under a certain warranty or a certain thing, which is, it's just great. It's just great to have. They're on your side, they're not trying to sell you more. Of course, Apple is known for selling you overpriced things, but they're of course for the customer as well. Okay, for now I'm done complaining about my Windows computer, which is absolutely a first world problem, so it's completely unnecessary. We're gonna switch to something more positive. I'm gonna tell you guys the things that I really like about my MacBook Pro and just Apple in general and the OS. And of course I'm gonna give a little review, a very unscientific review of my new MacBook Pro 16-inch model. Alright, now onto the things that I really like about my new Apple computer. I'm gonna keep this short because the video is already super long. First thing is going to be AirDrop. I really like AirDrop. It opened up a lot of doors, sending rough drafts to my phone, sending it to my friends, clients, whatever. It's just fast and it's fun and works really well. Second thing is macOS. I really like the operating system. It feels very clean, very organized, just super simple to use. The switch from Windows to Mac wasn't hard at all. Just some shortcuts I needed to change or to learn, and just the scrolling thing is a little weird, but in general I really like it, and the switch was just super easy. Then the reliability of the laptop is a big factor for me. It never crashed. I do have it for a short time, so there might be some problems. There probably are some problems, which is like super normal. I'm fine with that, but the reliability, of course, is going to be a very sturdy product. I heard that a lot of people with Macs have been using them for 4 or 5 years and still run very smooth or seamless without like too many problems. Of course, 4 years is a lot for a laptop, but still they hold up pretty well. And then last but also the least important one, the looks. It just feels smooth, it looks good. The chassis is made out of one piece of solid aluminum, so all the components fit in there, so there's no room for dust and such things. So I'm really happy with that. The only thing that I notice is sometimes my speakers pop. The speakers are absolutely great with this one, but the sound that comes out of these speakers is amazing for how tiny they are. They sound like actual full speakers, but they're so tiny and they sound super full, so I'm super happy with that as well. Alright, so that wraps up this video for today. I'm really trying to go harder at YouTube because I have all this time now. There are no crazy projects coming in, so I have a lot more time to create these videos. I really enjoy making these videos, so if you have any ideas, let me know, because ideas is probably going to be the toughest thing. It needs to be inside or a little bit outside. But yeah, of course we don't have that freedom right now. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next videos. Keep hustling, stay creative, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.